Hey guys, BaoZakeruga here. Now, as we all know, the 7th generation of gaming is unfortunately coming to an end. And I just want to take a look back at my personal experience with all last gen consoles, kind of how I felt about each of them, my little story, I guess you could say. And the first one I'll start with is the Wii. Now, before the Wii came out, I was one of those people, I'll admit, that thought, the whole Wii remote, swinging, everything was really cool. And the first game I got for the Wii, well, me and my cousin bought our Wii together, and the very first game we got was Red Steel. Now, anyone that's played Red Steel probably know what I'm about to say about Red Steel. And the game sucked. You could control your sword and your gun. I think the Wii remote was the sword that you could swing, and the nunchuck was your gun. And the controls were just so bad. But ironically, I still kind of had fun with it. Ironically, I don't remember much about the story. Well, any of it really. I can't remember if it had multiplayer. Never played Red Steel 2. The first one just turned me off from it. But the second game I got was the one that came with the Wii, of course, and that was Wii Sports. Now, everyone was crazy about Wii Sports. Surprisingly, at first, I didn't care for it, but over time, I really grew to like it. Like now, I can go back and play Wii Sports pretty much anytime and have a good time with it. My favorite games are baseball, bowling, maybe a little tennis. I'll be perfectly honest with you, I've never played golf on it. Never, not once. Don't know why. Maybe I like it. Maybe one day I'll try it. And unfortunately, I could never play the sequel because, well, mainly I don't have a Wii Plus motion controller, which I need to get eventually if I want to play Skyward Sword. And now the other Wii games that I want to talk about, say probably the biggest, most hyped Wii game for me was definitely Super Smash Bros. Brawl. I mean, the hype going into that game was freaking incredible. I think maybe the most hyped game I've ever, maybe the game I've been the most hyped for ever. Maybe besides, I don't know, Pokemon X and Y or Diamond and Pearl way back. I mean, you had Sonic, Solid Snake, you had Olimar, who I was really happy to see get in. I think my number 2 pick, because my number 1 pick was Olimar, and my number 2 pick was the Black Knight from Fire Emblem. Unfortunately, he didn't get in as a playable character, but his awesome theme song got in, and he was a trophy, so I'll work with it. Other Wii games that I've enjoyed: Mario Kart 7. No, not Mario Kart 7, Mario Kart Wii. Really liked motorcycles. That was a good step up for the series, even though my favorite is still Double Dash for the GameCube. Even though, to my surprise, I think a lot of Mario Kart fans hated Double Dash, but I don't see why. I had at least 150 hours put into that game. But then again, I had 3 other people playing with me at the time, so that, of course, increased the fun factor. Yeah, Twilight Princess. And I'll be honest with you, Twilight Princess I could never get into. The last great Zelda game for me was Wind Waker, which is still my favorite. And of course I gotta touch on what was probably the greatest RPG hands down of the 7th generation, with only minor competition honestly, which I'll get into a bit when I talk about the 360. But the game is Xenoblade Chronicles. If you haven't played it and you're an RPG fan, shame on you. Amazing game. I honestly put it up there in the ranks of Chrono Trigger, Link to the Past, those classics. It's that good. And if you watch my review, I actually went into the game expecting to hate it, and it was simply amazing. It shut me up and made me a fan, and I can't wait for Monolith Soft's next RPG X, or whatever they're gonna call it. Although I kind of wish we could get more information about that, but whatever. Next game, it's actually a game that never came out in America, and that game was SD Gundam G Generation World. Now it's kind of like I compare it to Final Fantasy Tactics. Like, it's a strategy RPG. If you played Fire Emblem, it's something like that. Unfortunately, it's only in Japanese, of course, but honestly, you don't need to learn Japanese. Well, it'll help, but you really don't need it to play the game. It's pretty much Gundam fan service all packed into one game. It's also available for the PSP, but I played the Wii version. And basically, you buy little Gundams, and they're super deformed. If you don't know what that is, basically chibi or really tiny. You might remember the SD Gundam show from Toonami back in the 90s, but it didn't have a long run, so yeah. But it was a fun game. I never beat it, honestly, because I was at the very last level, second to last, and I didn't know it was the second to last, and I thought it was the last. And when you lose a unit in that game, it's gone forever. Like, you keep your pilot, but you lose the mech that they're in. And since I thought it was the final stage, I'm going all out, being kind of careless, and I lose, I think, 2 of my best people. And then I find out there is some more. And it just pissed me off, and I never went back to it. But I don't think there's really any other Wii games that really stood out this last generation. At least that come to mind. There's SSX, I think, Tricky. Can't remember what the title was, but it was an SSX game. It was okay. I didn't like the fact that you had to use the Wii controllers to do tricks and stuff in midair. It was very, very awkward. Can never really get the hang of it. Like, it was feasible to play, but to be good at the game, I don't think it was possible with the Wii remote. There probably is some games I'm missing that I can't think of off the top of my head. But those were definitely the shining beacons in the Wii's lifetime, at least for me. Things I didn't like about the Wii, the main thing was that it didn't have that interface that PS3 and Xbox 360 had. Didn't have all the multimedia features, but that's not too big of a deal because I just wanted to use it as a gaming system. So that's not that big of a deal. And now we'll move on to the 360, which I think got the most playtime. Well, not playtime, but definitely most games out of me this generation. And surprisingly, I'm still on my first Xbox. You know, tons of people got the Red Ring of Death, and my Xbox is one of the first models. I hope I don't jinx it by saying that, but yeah, it's still running perfectly. And yeah, I have done some long gaming sessions on it, so maybe I'm just lucky. Who knows? I really hope it doesn't get the Red Ring of Death after this video. But 360, I got mine, I think 2-3 years into its lifespan, something like that. But it was the first come model. Has some backwards compatibility, even though I only played one original 360 game on it. I mean, Xbox game on it, and that was Conquer Live and Reloaded. Not as good as the original, by the way, if you're a Conquer fan. But 360 had tons and tons of games I played and loved on it. Not all of them were exclusive, because honestly the only exclusives were like Gears of War, Halo, and Tales of Vesperia, which I'm going to talk about now. Well, actually, Tales of Vesperia was an exclusive, but it was later ported to the PS3, but yeah. So, Tales of Vesperia was my very first 360 game, and to this day remains my favorite 360 game. Gorgeous, gorgeous game. I say that and Wind Waker are probably my favorite games in terms of graphics and art style. Very colorful, very beautiful. If you play the Tales game, you'll know what it's like. Run around, control your characters. Likeable characters, great soundtrack, plenty of side quests, but that's the one thing that pissed me off about this game. If you do not have a guide for this game, you will miss like 40% of the content in it, because you give no cues to all the side quests. There's tons of them. You get outfits, arts, which are your like techniques. And yeah, that was just a horrible decision that I'm glad they kind of fixed in later entries in the series. But I still love the game. I put about 4 playthroughs into it, and I'm planning to do my 5th after I'm done with Tales of the Abyss 3DS. And each playthrough takes about 60 hours, so yeah, that's quite a bit of playtime. And the next game I want to talk about is Grand Theft Auto 4. I hated it. I thought it was a horrible game. Just in every aspect. To me, it backpedaled the series, ruined everything that GTA 3, San Andreas, and Vice City built up. The driving is what really killed it for me. If you haven't played it, to me it felt like the cars were sliding on ice whenever you tried to move them around. It had a really dull color palette, unlikable characters, unrelatable characters pretty much. Lack of cheat codes. I think that is probably my biggest disappointment with the new GTA games. Because the PS2 GTA games had a slew of cheat codes to them. Like in San Andreas, you can make cars fly, cars blow up, pedestrians riot. I think GTA 4 only had like a maximum of 10 to 20 cheat codes. Most of them weren't interesting. And it just, I could only get like 20 hours into the game before I sold it back. It was just that bad. But fortunately, the same day I bought that game, I also bought Halo 3. And Halo 3 is actually the very first Halo game I owned, like physically. It's not the first one I played, because I have played 1, never played 2. Always want to. Go back to it one day. But Halo 3 is the very first one I played. Story mode, disappointing. Story-wise, like to actually play is fun, but the story, could care less about it, honestly. Maybe it's because I did enter into the third one, but it still seemed boring regardless. And it was co-op, which was really fun with me and my friend. But what was really awesome, of course, was the online mode. And I think Halo 3 was the very first real online multiplayer game I played, now that I think about it. And it was just so new and fun to me. Get 16 people together, 8 on a team, go shoot each other up, dual wielding weapons. I never forget, during my first week of playing it, I had a sniper rifle and I wasn't zoomed in. I looked halfway across the map. It was that desert stage with the elephants, if anyone remembers. And I looked across the map. I just shot a random shot for no reason. I remember I sniped someone in the head and I laughed for like half an hour straight. And it was just one of my most memorable gaming moments ever. And I don't think I'll ever forget that. It was really cool. At first I kind of sucked at it, but now I don't want to sound like I'm bragging, but I think I'm a pretty good Halo player. Played Reach, played Halo 4. I think Reach was really awesome in terms of multiplayer. Halo 4 seemed like it was lacking something. It was fun at first, but after a while, it's kind of, I don't know, maybe just the formula wears out for the game after a while. But it's a testament that Halo is pretty much the only traditional shooter that I can really stand to play. Can't play Call of Duty. Not really into Battlefield. And actually, I should go back and mention GTA 4 before I talk about this next game. And remember, I said I was really disappointed with GTA 4. And I think that was the primary reason I fell in love with the Saints Row series, at least the first two. Because for me, Saints Row 1 was everything that GTA 4 should have been. It was crazy. It had likable characters, a likable plot. You could customize your cars, which was really fun to me. And it just did everything right. And then as soon as I beat Saints Row 1, I went out and bought Saints Row 2. And that blew me away. It took everything from Saints Row 1, upgraded it. I don't think it slacked on anything that 1 did right. Because that's a bad thing with sequels a lot of times. They'll improve some things and not improve some things. But Saints Row 2, I really think they improved everything. The game had more humor in it. A lot of dark humor, actually. Likeable characters again. Pretty great soundtrack too. More vehicle customization options, more options in the city. And after 2, I kind of fell out of love with the series. Saints Row 3, the beginning of the game I liked, and then it just went into Looneyville. You know, with the game world in the toilet. And a lot of the humor was just seemed really downgraded in a way. Like it was made for preteens and just silly and corny. Like the whole unicorn joke, if you played the game you might remember that. It just was stupid and unfunny to me. And Saints Row 4 just upped the wackiness to a point where I'd never want to play it. Never have, probably never will, to be completely honest with you. But enough about Saints Row. Now let's talk about my favorite zombie game ever. And that game is Left 4 Dead 2. Now this game was given to me in a way from my friend. And I've never gone online with Left 4 Dead 2. Never that big of a deal to me, so it's just been me and another person on our couch playing. And what can I say about Left 4 Dead 2? It's fun, it doesn't take itself seriously, likable characters, and I think that's one of the good things about this game, because there's no fleshed out story in Left 4 Dead 2. It's like you follow these 4 characters on their way to escape, you know, the area that they're in, and that's pretty much it. That's all you know about it. It's like you go from area to area to get to the next area, and there's no real details, but it's weird because you don't really need them or want them, and it's still enjoyable. I don't know how they pulled it off, but it's pretty good. I can't wait for Left 4 Dead 3. And honestly, Left 4 Dead 2 used to kind of be my stress reliever in a way. I don't know why, just going hacking up hordes and hordes of zombies or shooting with shotguns. It's just really relaxing. I don't know if that sounds weird or not. Plus, I think it was the first game, first co-op game me and my girlfriend played, so it was also special to me in that regard. I don't know if the online community is still active, but if it is, I would kind of like to see how it is one day with 4 people. Because it's the main reason I can't play the hardest difficulty, because with 2 people, you'll get messed up horribly. Next game I want to talk about is Dishonored. Now, I touched on this in a previous video, can't remember exactly what video it was, but I said that I am not into stealth games, and I'm not, for the most part. But Dishonored changed that. You have powers like to be able to blink to an spot in an instant, you can summon a freaking rat plague to eat people. In the DLC, which even furthered the powers, you can summon an ally to help you. Never played the last DLC to bring more witches, so I can't really touch on what that added. But the game was really fun. Had a good path and a light path. I never got the good ending, even though I watched it on YouTube, because just not as fun to me. Basically, if you're really stealthy and you don't kill people, you get the good ending. If you go around killing everyone you see, and yeah, you get the bad ending. Although they're not that dissimilar, but I guess it's more of a happy ending for a certain character in the good ending. But it's not that big of a deal, to be completely honest with you. My only gripe with the game was that it's kind of short, but it has a lot of replay value because the stages are so big. You can go about an objective in any type of way you want. You can just go down a path and mow through all the enemies, leap across rooftops, go through the sewers, take control of a rat with the power, and go through a pipe that way. Really a lot of options. Can't wait if they make a second one. And it's just a really fun game overall, with a pretty awesome art style in my opinion. I think last 360 game I'm going to touch on is GTA 5. Now it's not the last 360 game I played a tons more, but those are all the ones that really stood out to me. In GTA 5, everyone remembers the hype for it. Although personally I wasn't on board until I saw the character trailers for Franklin, Trevor, and Michael. Franklin I thought was going to be my favorite character, followed by Michael and Trevor. But when I actually played the game, it turned out Trevor turned out to be my favorite. And Franklin, and then Michael, he just kind of annoyed me at the end. But everything that GTA 4 did wrong, I felt GTA 5 did right. They fixed all the issues I had a problem with, like the horrible driving system, the just downer atmosphere of the game, depressing. GTA 5 was kind of crazy in its own right. Not Saints Row crazy, but it had its moments. Like the Franklin missions were reminiscent of San Andreas. Michael, I won't say Vice City, because Michael himself has that Vice City feel to him because he's like living the life. But it's more about his family problems. Trevor is just insane. Although he is quite surprisingly the most intelligent character in the game, I say, if you really look into him. And that's what really drew me into him. And I feel I should note I'm really talking just about the single player, not the multiplayer. I've played the multiplayer section because my girlfriend has it. And honestly, I'm kind of underwhelmed by it, at least right now. Because it seems like a lot of repetition with what you do. To my knowledge, you just steal cars for Simeon, do the same death matches and races over and over to raise your level. And I don't know, it's just not fun. Like when I first saw the trailer for the online mode, I thought it was just going to be like the single player, you know, story-wise kinda. And it just wasn't. And the reason I didn't play the multiplayer section kind of brings me into my biggest gripe with the 360 is that you have to pay for online. $60 a year as of right now. I think it used to be $50 some years ago, but it's not that big of a difference. But yeah, even though it's $5 a month, still just to play an online game, I'm not into that. Which is unfortunate since now the PS4 took that route in the upcoming generation. But what can you do? Other than that, I don't really think I have any real problems with the 360. Besides, you know, the Red Ring of Death, which I haven't experienced yet. Hopefully, never will. And actually, before I go to talk about the PS4, there's 360 games I just remembered that I should really mention. And those were the 3 Dynasty Warriors Gundam games. Now, you might know that I'm a huge Mecha fan. And I actually am a huge Dynasty Warriors fan. So when you get Dynasty Warriors and you get Gundam, you get a big ball of awesomeness. And I played all 3 games, loved all 3 games. And the main thing that made them memorable for me, at least the first 2, was that I had them on the same day. It was actually the day I got my first HD TV. So the morning I was playing them in regular, or whatever you want to call it. And later I was playing in HD. And it was the first game I saw that, you know, that comparison. And I'm like, wow, so this is HD gaming. And it just blew me away. And I was already having fun with the game, and that kind of upped the experience more. And number 3 was just awesome in every way. More Gundams. It had a cel-shaded art style, which was beautiful, and which I'm really disappointed they're taking out the sequel, Shin Dynasty Warriors Gundam. But whatever. And now let's talk about the PS3. Now this section is going to be a bit different, because unfortunately I only had my PS3 for a year. Why, you ask? I got the freaking yellow light of death, and I haven't gotten a PS3 since, even though I really want one. But yeah, I did play some games before that though, so I'm going to talk about those. And then I'm going to talk about the slew of games that I want to play, but I can't at the moment, because I don't have a PS3 due to stupid hardware issues. And the very first PS3 game I got was, I think it was Dynasty Warriors 7 or 8. Can't remember the number, but it was 7 or 8. And it was the first Dynasty Warriors Gundam I played since the early PS2 era. Can't remember the number that was, but this one was pretty good. Wasn't as fun as Dynasty Warriors Gundam to me, but it was really good in another aspect. And that surprising aspect for me was actually the story. Not exactly historically accurate, but it was likable with the characters. My favorite I remember was Cao and his legion and his family. Can't remember their names. His cousins, I think they are. And another character I really liked, I don't remember his name unfortunately, but I think it was like the extra story you unlock afterwards, because you start with 3 main guys. I don't remember their family names because it's Chinese, but the red guys, the purple guys, which is Cao. I think the last one is blue, I think. And then you unlock like the light blue family. Like every color, every family has a color scheme to them. That's how I remember them. Don't kill me if you're a Dynasty Warriors fan. And I don't remember their names unfortunately, but they were really awesome. The head guy was kind of evil, and then he had a son. And his son was my favorite character besides Cao. Well, he had 2 sons, and the younger, more laid-back one was the one I liked. And after his brother, the older, calm one, died, he took over and he kind of changed and he got more serious. I don't know, I really liked him like that. Next game I got was a Japanese import of Tales of Exilia. Now this game just came out I think this year in America, but I had it 2-3 years ago. Got it for myself for Christmas. All in Japanese, of course, and I loved it at first. But as time drew on, the flaws of the game became apparent. Because I'm pretty sure the game was rushed out since it's an anniversary game. And just seemed rushed in some aspects. It was an enjoyable game, but it just seemed like stuff was missing. Like if you're a Tales fan, you'll know that in the arena there's like cameo battles from other Tales characters. And this one didn't have that. The grade system sucked. In old Tales games, after every battle you also get grade, which is kind of like an experience point accumulation of stuff you do, like how well you do in battle. And when you beat the game, you can carry over stuff and get new stuff for your next playthrough, like carry over all your costumes, techniques, or arts. You can get 10 times the experience. And yeah, this one just had a horrible implementation of that. But what really killed this game for me was the horrible inclusion of a mechanic when you fight bosses. Now, let's say I'm fighting a boss. I get a 15-hit combo on this boss, which in a Tales game is not much. And this boss will break out of your combo, become invincible for like a couple seconds, and use an attack to counteract your people so you have to jump away. Now, the problem with this is that, let's say me and my friend are playing, we run up on the enemy, we get 15 hits. The boss does the thing I just told you where he does the attack, he becomes invincible, we back up, we go back in, hit him 50 times, he does it again, we go back, hit him 15 times, does it again, go back, hit him 15 times, and he keeps doing this. Every single boss in this game plays out this way, and it is not fun. I don't know who at Namco Bandai thought this was a good idea, but it ruined this game for me. The boss battles just did not feel epic because of it. But the game could still be enjoyed in a way. I think I had more fun with the regular random battles than boss battles because of that. And another thing I didn't like about this game is that the mystic arts, which are like your ultimate moves, look lame. Like they came out of the Wii lame. And this game came after Tales of Vesperia, which has some of the most beautiful mystic arts possibly in the series history. So I don't know what the hell happened there. But it looks like Tales of Exilia 2 fixed some of these problems, so I will buy that in the future whenever, of course, I get another PS3. And next game is another Tales of game, and that is Tales of Graces F, which a lot of fans did not think was going to come over, and for good reason too, given Namco Bandai's track record of international releases. And Tales of Graces, a lot of fans hate the story, because the big central theme of the story is friendship. And I can admit that it gets a little corny at times, but it doesn't bother me too much. Especially not when the game has definitely I'll say the best battle system in any Tales game ever. very unique. Each character has 2 styles of attack which you can chain together along with their arts to do some really crazy and fun stuff. And my first playthrough of the game took exactly 100 hours. I remember that. It was like 100 hours on the dot, 0 seconds and everything. I always thought that was pretty cool. But these 2 Tales games had a big issue, I guess you could say outside of the game in a way, that I hope Namco Bandai changes in the future, but I kinda doubt it. And that is freaking DLC. DLC in these 2 games. The DLC in Tales of Xillia costs, I think, twice the amounts of the game, $60, and I'm not joking. And this is pretty much just for costumes. You know, visual changes for your character. Over $60 worth of DLC just for appearances. Tales of Graces F, kind of the same, but whereas Tales of Xillia, you only had like, I think, 2. No, every character had 1 costume in the game, while the 2 main characters had 2, and that was it. You had to pay for the rest. Tales of Graces F, every character I think had at least a couple to themselves in the game, whereas extra ones were DLC. And the costumes are overpriced. If memory serves, I think they're like $4 or $5 each. Could be wrong, it's been a while. But yeah, it's just ridiculous and stupid. Because back in Tales of Vesperia, I think only 10% of the costumes, maybe even less, were DLC. And all the other ones were in the game. Even though, like I mentioned earlier in Tales of Vesperia, you would miss a lot of them because of the stupid side quest thing. And as for PS3 games that I own, I think that was it. Might be missing 1 game. My friend had God of War 3, but I could never get into the God of War series because too many puzzles kind of ruin the action for me. So strangely enough, that's the game I'd rather watch than play. It's not bad to watch either, actually. Pretty epic. I tried Dante's Inferno at a friend's house. Pretty much a God of War clone, so same exact thing applies. Puzzles kind of ruin the action for me. I think that was it. And now I'll move on to the games that I really want to play, but I haven't had a chance because of my PS3 breaking down on me. And that is the Uncharted series. I want to try all 3 main games in that. I want to play Gundam Breaker, I believe it's called. Just basically you customize your own Gundam, something I've always wanted to do. And you do stuff with your Gundam, go shooting stuff. The next game was Gundam Extreme vs. Full Boost, which is kind of like Dynasty Warriors Gundam in a way. But instead of facing hordes of enemies, you're just like doing random missions and stuff. It's actually a part of an arcade game, but it looks phenomenal, so I really want to try that. Next game is another mech game, another Centuries Episode R. First, kind of a downgrade from number 3 for the PS2, but I still want to try it. It has my favorite anime of all time called Geass in it, so I gotta try it. Next, I don't want to play The Last of Us. Watched some of it on YouTube. Don't like it, honestly. I know fanboys will hate that, but it's just not my cup of tea. There's other PS3 games I'm pretty sure, but I can't exactly think of them. Well, PlayStation All-Stars, big Super Smash Bros. Fan. It's kind of a Super Smash Bros. Clone in a way. Kinda want to play it, even though I don't know most of the characters. Yeah, I think that was pretty much it. On my PS3 I had downloaded Final Fantasy IX, which I can't complete. Well, I didn't complete, because once again, data's gone. Xenogears, which twice my data's been erased, so hopefully 3rd time is the charm for that, for Xenogears. I keep getting messed up whenever I reach the 2nd disc. Both times have been on the 2nd disc and my data's been deleted. So maybe the gaming gods just don't want me to beat that game. I think that was pretty much it. Things I don't like about the PS3. Well, the original one I had got really hot. Maybe that's why it died on me. Even though I kept it pretty ventilated. So, I don't know, maybe it's just bad luck. I guess I could say that the online interface isn't as user-friendly or just all-around good compared to the 360. But I did like the fact that the PS3 controller did not need batteries as the 360 controller did. PS3 controller as well, I am not a fan of the changes to the R2 and L2 buttons. You'll know that they made them kind of like triggers almost, and it just feels weird. Prefer the PS2, PS1 ones. Have not gotten a chance to hold a PS4 controller yet, but they look like they changed it for the better. Can't wait for that. I think that'll about do it for the PS3. Now overall, in this generation, main thing I didn't like was DLC, of course. Not a fan of that. Don't think anyone really is. I don't like the fact that a lot of generic shooters ruled the marketplace in the West. I know a lot of people like shooters in the West, but to me it's just not fun a lot of the time. I like Halo. I can understand why people like Battlefield, since it's like freaking people everywhere bombing each other, shooting, armies going against armies. Could never see the appeal of Call of Duty. Just don't know why. I also guess you could say I don't like the direction some companies have went, like Square Enix focusing more on AAA titles that they have ridiculous expectations for. Like I think Tomb Raider sold, was it over 1 million? I can't remember how much it sold, but it sold a lot. I mean a lot. And they said the game was a failure because it didn't reach their ridiculous expectations for it. And that's a shame because it looks kind of good. Haven't played Tomb Raider, but looks fun. Same thing with EA, Electronic Arts. Just straight up greedy. Everyone remembers the SimCity launch. Don't have to talk about that now, do I? Capcom. Don't know what the hell happened to Capcom. Milked the hell out of the Street Fighter series. And they have so many IPs to work with and they don't make games for them. Just blows my mind. They keep focusing on Street Fighter and their other games that I guess are popular, but they have all these fans with IPs that they're not using. They killed Devil May Cry in a way. Kind of split the fan base, I guess you could say. Half the people don't like New Dante. Half the people can tolerate New Dante but don't like him. And they're about to go under possibly because a while back they stated that they don't even have enough money to make a next gen, I think Street Fighter they said. Next gen fighter, something like that. And it's kind of bad. And I think the amount of money they have in the bank was revealed. And for a person that would be life-changing amount, I think it was like millions. But for a company like that, it's like, what the hell are you doing with your company? And I don't want to see Capcom die. I mean, of course they're giving the cold shoulder to Mega Man, but I don't want to see him die. I grew up with Capcom, Street Fighter, Mega Man, all that good stuff. Hopefully they get their act together. And not really any other companies kind of jump out as to, you know, messing up too much. You know, besides Microsoft and the whole original Xbox One policies, but they changed their tune, so that's good. You know, I could go on and on, probably another 10-20 minutes talking about this generation with the games and everything, but I'll just close by saying this generation was good. Got HD gaming, got see games taken to the next level, will become more mainstream for better or worse. I'll say that it's a good generation, but unfortunately it's my least favorite generation. Too many bad things with like DLC and AAA games and shooters ruling the market, which I'm not a fan of. But I'm still looking forward to the next generation of gaming. Had a lot of good memories this generation, and sad to see it go. But welcome to the future. Wii U's been out over a year, well, around a year. PS4 just came out. Xbox One comes out, I believe, midnight tonight. I have a Wii U. We'll probably get a PS4 whenever Kingdom Hearts 3 or Final Fantasy 15 comes out. And I'll get an Xbox One whenever the price drops to like $250 or $300, just to play whatever exclusives are out there. But congratulations if you stuck with me throughout this whole thing. Like, comment, subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter at BaoZakeruga, and thank you guys for watching. Happy gaming.